So all the cards have been revealed, and I wanted to go over what I think are the top 10. The power level of this set is quite high. I don't think it's as high as Scholomance Academy was, but there are a lot of cool new cards, and I think a lot of new archetypes are going to be pushed with this set. So hopefully we're seeing a lot of new decks, and we're not seeing too much of the old stuff like Soul Fragment Demon Hunter. That would be unfortunate. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump in with card number 10. So we got Palm Reading here. This is a priest card. It's 3 mana, it's a spell, and you discover a spell, and then you reduce the cost of spells in your hand by 1. So reducing the cost of big spells is really, really nice. Being able to get, you know, a cheaper a plague of death or a soul mirror is just incredibly valuable. Hitting a couple spells with this is going to make it really good. Hitting 3+ spells with this, it's kind of insane. So Priest is getting a lot of mana cheats, and I don't know, this is just, they're really going a direction with Priest that I was hoping they wouldn't go, which is it's going to continue to be frustrating to play against. It's going to be very, very cheaty, very, very yoinky. It steals your cards, uses them against you, discounts their own cards, plays cards that aren't actually in their deck. And yeah, I don't know, Palm Reading, very, very good. I'm not too excited to be running into a lot of Palm Reading. So next up we got Lothraxion, the Redeemed. This is a Paladin legendary, a 5 mana 5/5 demon with the battle cry: for the rest of the game after you summon a Silverhand recruit, give it Divine Shield. Now this is pretty good with N'Zoth because it's a demon. He's going to be able to come back from that, but that's not the main reason we're running this guy. It's just for getting that Divine Shield on your Silverhand recruits. That is incredibly valuable. From this point forward, all of your dudes are going to be really strong. Maybe you're using this with the Air Raid. There's the new spells where you summon multiple dudes, or even just your hero power becomes so much better. It turns them into Argent Squires, I think is what they're called. The one with Divine Shield. And then all your buffs become so much better. Maybe you're running this in Libram, right? Now all your dudes are going to have Divine Shield on top of those increased stats. Or maybe you just end up doing a dude and then using using Blessing of Authority. Like that's insane. You're gonna have a 9/9 with Divine Shield for 7 mana. Very, very good. Or hitting it with the Kings, or really any buff at all. Even a Hand of Adult. The Divine Shield just gives you so much value, and that value is just gonna constantly be there, making your board a lot more frustrating to deal with for the opponent. So I think this card is really good. One of the better legendaries that we have seen this set. So Paladin's already in a good spot, and I think they're gonna be tier 1. All right, next up we got Carnival Barker, another strong Paladin card here. 3 mana 3/2, where whenever you summon a 1 health minion, give it +1/+2. Now, this includes Argent Squire, not Argent Squires, your dudes. This includes your Silverhand recruits, so those will have +1/+2. So now, if you use the Carnival Barker in conjunction with the Lothraxion, then you're gonna summon a 2/3 with Divine Shield. Very, very good. Also, there's a lot of 1 health minions that Paladin ends up using, like using Stolid's Pride is one of the best ways for Paladin to draw cards. So that'll pull more 1 health minions, and then this will work with that to give them health. So this could be used maybe in some sort of Paladin deck that's a little bit slower, but really I see it more of like maybe in Libram Paladin, or Libram, whatever you want to call it. Or an aggro paladin. There was an aggro paladin that was doing really good. It just summons a bunch of low attack dudes, low health dudes, very, very tokeny. And it was actually seeming to do quite well. I think this card fits just fine in an aggro paladin. And again, they are pushing Silverhand recruits, and this works fantastically with the Silverhand recruits. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Carnival Barker. Next up, we got the Nameless one. Priest, legendary card, 4 mana 4/4 with the battle cry: choose a minion, become a 4/4 copy of it, and then silence it. So you get to, your opponent makes a massive minion. Maybe it's Paladin. and they put a bunch of Librams of wisdom on it, and then you get rid of all those and you take them yourself. Maybe you don't want that because your hand's going to be polluted with a bunch of wisdoms that are 2 mana, but in general, it's very useful to silence things. Or maybe they just use a blessing of authority on something and you just want to get rid of that silence. Or maybe it just has a really good death rattle and you steal that really strong death rattle. Now, silence is hard to come by these days. RIP Spellbreaker, but Nameless 1 is even better than Spellbreaker in many situations. Actually, I guess in all situations. Priest already does have access to a lot of silences, so this is, again, frustrating to play against Priest. They're really going in the annoying, steal your minions, don't play minions that are actually in their deck sort of thing. So Priest does seem to have that class identity, and I do think we're going to be seeing a lot of the nameless ones, and it's going to be relatively frustrating to play against, and yeah, just a super good card. All right, next up we got the Minari Mosher, a 3-mana 3/4 demon for Warlock with the battlecry, give a friendly demon +3 attack and lifesteal this turn. This card is so good. They do seem to be pushing Demon Zoo, and I'm very excited about that. There's that other card that draws 2 demons or 2 minions from your deck, and if they're both demons, you discount them by 2. So I'm really seeing a Demon Zoo. It's totally going to be viable. It's going to be super, well, it's going to be solid. We'll have to see. But yeah, this card is so good because Warlock is often hurting itself. It's near death. You know, you got flame imps and stuff. And then how do you heal? You can't really heal. So now you can. You use this maybe on a flame imp that's stuck around, and then you get 6 heals. Plus, again, it's a demon itself, so it works with that draw demon card that was announced. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Minari Mosher. This is also going to be very good in duels and in arena and really anywhere. This card seems fantastic, and worst come to worst, it's still got that spider tank body, so it's okay to play with no demon on the board. Just the way that, you know, sometimes you play an SI7 as a tempo 3 mana 3/3. So yeah, really like this card, super good, and I really hope Demon Warlock becomes semi-viable, hopefully tier 2 deck at least. Next up, we got Confection Cyclone, a 2-mana 3/2 elemental for mage. The battlecry, add 2 1/2 sugar elementals to your hand. So it's much like a Firefly. Firefly, one of the best cards. You could play it on one and then smooth out your curve. Maybe you play both of the other flies. This does seem better than Firefly, actually, and it's Firefly was an incredible card. Now this works really well with that one, the side quest, where if you play elementals, you draw spells from your deck. Remember that one? That one's super good, but was often difficult to complete. But now that we have this elemental, the consistency of that is definitely going to be a lot higher. Another really cool thing is we have what's it called? Grand Finale? The finale? I don't know. I think that summons an 8/8 for each elemental that you played the previous turn. You play the confection and the 2 sugar elementals on turn 7, and you curve into the grand finale or whatever on turn 8, you're gonna summon 4 8/8s. That's a lot. That's very difficult to deal with. So I think that's gonna often be game winning. And yeah, this just seems great. Seems like a really, really good card. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of this. Next up, we got High Exarch Yrel, an 8-mana 7/5. This is Zilliax. It's a legendary paladin card. So paladin getting 2 super strong legendaries. This one has the battle cry. If your deck has no neutral cards, gain rush, lifesteal, taunt, and divine shield. Now pure paladin is already super good. The Libram paladin, people sometimes run the broom non-pure, and sometimes people run the pure version. And the pure version is kind of neck and neck with the broom build, the pen broom build, but I think pure is going to be better now because of this card, because of all the other pure or strong just class paladin cards that have been printed. This is insane. Rush, lifesteal, taunt, and divine shield. So good. You definitely don't want to play this in a non-pure paladin. But that's not really that hard because again, pure paladin is already very strong as it is. Plus you could get this off of Lightforge Crusader, I think the one that gives you 5 random cards. If you get this in there, absolutely insane. So this card just seems incredibly powerful, and I am pretty scared about all the paladins, and they have so much heal already as it is, with the new spell that kind of heals them with the Librams of Hope, Lightforge Blessing or whatever. So this is we're gonna be seeing a lot of this for sure. Next up, we got Foxy Fraud, a 2-mana 3/2 with the battle cry. Your next combo card this turn costs 2 less. This is kind of a 0-mana 3/2, but almost even better than that, because sometimes it's awkward as rogue to be able to activate your combo cards. Like you got Evil Miscreant, right? But you don't have a 0-mana card. Maybe you have Backstab in hand, but your opponent did not play a minion. How are you going to actually activate that Miscreant? So you can play Foxy Fraud, and then you can play the Miscreant, and it's going to be, you know, a total of 3 mana, and then you get all those stats on the board, and you were able to activate your combo card, making it a lot less awkward. I think Foxy Fraud is incredibly good. Huge tempo swings. Even using this with something like an SI. SI is not really in the meta right now, but perhaps this will bring back SI, because it'll be so easy to activate. Probably not, but just an example. Another thing is Edwin. You could play this, step this, play this again, play Edwin, and that's what, three cards for a 3/2 and an 8/8. You're probably not going to do that too often, but playing that on turn 2 is pretty insane, right? So really like Foxy Fraud. Next up, we got Tenwoo of the Red Smoke. Now, Tenwoo of the Red Smoke is really good. 2-mana 3/2, just like Foxy Fraud. So the stats are great, but that's not really why we're playing this. The battle cry is return a friendly minion to your hand. It costs 1 this turn. This is so flexible and so good. It's kind of like a Shadow Step, but a Shadow Step does not discount this much, right? Shadow Step will discount 2, but this will discount maybe more than 2, sometimes less than 2. But for example, if you play Flick, you can Tenwoo it back to your hand and play it again for 1 mana. Super good. You do have to play it on the turn that you Tenwoo it, so that is something to keep in mind. But we also can run Shadow Steps in this deck. Let's say you complete Cthulhu, and then you play Cthulhu, and you Shadow Step Cthulhu back. Then the next turn, you could play Cthulhu, you could play Tenwoo, and then you could play Cthulhu again. So is that like 90 damage over 3 turns? He does 30, right? I don't know how anyone can deal with that. So if Rogue is able to cycle through their deck quick enough, I think Cthulhu Rogue is actually going to be very, very strong, very competitive actually. And Rogue does have a fair amount of cycles, so I'm a little bit worried about this. And again, Tenwoo can be used on the Cthulhu, but maybe you don't need to be greedy. Maybe you don't need 90 damage over a couple turns. Maybe you use this with the Flick, or maybe even on Jandis, because you want to re-trigger that battle cry. So Tenwoo, very flexible, very strong. I think this is, I don't know, between this one and the next one, I don't know. All these cards I'm looking at are 5 stars to me. It's just, this is goodness gracious, man. We got Ticketus here as the last card, a 6-mana 8/8 demon. With the battle cry, remove the top 5 cards from your deck, corrupt your opponent's deck instead. So this is the corrupted version right here. Removing the top 5 cards from your opponent's deck is really good. Now you can maybe even play this in some sort of mid-range warlock and not care if it's corrupted, because essentially burning the top 5 cards of your deck is kind of like just, you know, putting the top 5 cards in your deck on the bottom of your deck and then just never drawing your entire deck, if that makes sense. That kind of Fell Reaver was a good card, right? Because you'd played an aggro deck, so you didn't care about burning your deck. You just pretended you never would draw those. But Ticketus is flexible in the sense that maybe you want to play a control demon hunter, a mill demon hunter, and you end up running this. You can duplicate this with your philosophy, and once it's corrupted, you just play a bunch of Ticketus. You can burn half their deck over 3 turns. If there are combo decks, this is going to disrupt that greatly. So maybe Cthulhu becomes very prominent, and this deck itself will just destroy all the Cthulhu decks. So I guess Bomb Warrior kind of would as well. But this is going to be really fun. I think in like a plot twist warlock as well. Imagine like a quest warlock where you end up hitting Ticketus for 0 off of your completed quest reward, and then you use a couple philosophies, then you got 3 Ticketuses, and you can play them all in one turn. Like that'd be pretty crazy. And I think that's where I'm most excited about this. Again, it's kind of okay in some sort of mid-range or aggro deck. You don't really care to burn the top 5 cards of your deck, but in those slower matchups, you can play this. Just remove your opponent's boards with all your AOE and just constantly heal up, and then play Ticketus and burn their deck. You can play that grindy game. So I'm really hoping that maybe we see some slower matches. I know the last meta was very aggressive, and I'd be happy to see a bit of a slower meta this time around. So hopefully I'm right about these card predictions. There were a lot of good cards here, but I wanted to narrow it to my top 10. Again, some of these may flop. I think it's fun to kind of look at these now, review them now, and then we can laugh about it. Laugh about how wrong I was later on in the future, right? But these are the top 10 cards, in my opinion. Let me know what cards you think are better in the description. Just let me know. Maybe there's a card I missed somehow, or that I just didn't see some sort of combo that you saw. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm very excited for this expansion. Happy it's coming out in November instead of December. That's it. If you like the video, hit it with a thumbs up. Good luck on ladder and stay hydrated.